And this is Job, Michael's oldest brother.
So, this is the magic trick, huh?
Illusion, Michael. Trick is something a whore does for money.
Grimerica.
You have no idea how often people have quoted that line back to me. Like, I don't think it's quite once a day for the last decade, but it's on that level.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the Grimerica Show. We are going to be chatting with Nate Staniforth a little bit later about real magic and magicians and all sorts of fun stuff like that. So, first, as always, I can't say nothing. I'm at a loss. I haven't seen Super Troopers Dunlop.
Hey, buddy.
How's it going?
Good. I don't know if we should say, listeners might get the wrong idea with real magic, because it's like not real magic as in occult magic. He's like magician, like David Blaine style magic. Actually, he worked with Blaine for a while.
So it's not real magic. It's illusions.
Well, it's real magic in that
he admits
sense,
himself
like,
that he's not doing magic.
well, that's what they call it, though, these guys. It's magic.
These guys.
Yeah.
These magicians.
Yeah. These real illusionists, like you said. Yeah.
Illusionists.
Yeah. I don't think we mentioned the term illusionist with him, though, but it's pretty fascinating chat. He's got lots of YouTube videos, and he's kind of talking about the sense of
tricks
wonder
or something
that people
whores
have, right?
do for money.
What is that? What?
What?
What does that have to do with anything?
We can't call them tricks.
Oh.
Actually, he said that was a myth. It's all from Arrested Development.
Yeah, we talk about that quite a bit. So anyways, yeah, it's a great chat with Nate. He's going on tour as well, and he's been talking about his magic on TV and stuff and doing shows all over.
I get a kick out of magicians.
Yeah.
If he came here, I'd go check it out for sure.
Yeah, we should do that. Well, let's keep our eyes open in the city and go see one.
Magicians and stand-up comedians.
I don't understand how he gave that example of the coincidence, like how he likes to utilize coincidence. Like, how do they really do that? Like, there's some tricks that just are just, I don't know, makes you wonder. So, hey, before we get too far ahead here, we're going to talk about some listener emails and stuff like that before we get into Nate. But I want to mention we only have a few weeks left. We have this sort of upgrade program going right now. We need to buy a new recording computer, and we're raising money, and we're almost there. So we're giving away a chance to, well, not a chance, but to come on the show with a guest of their choice. We're giving away an iPad and stuff like that. So part of the proceeds goes to the gift for people, for whoever wins, and then the rest of it goes to this recording computer that we need, because the one we have is 9 years old and it's falling apart.
Yep. So check out grimerica.ca/upgrade. There's a bunch of different options, or two different options anyway.
And let us mention before we forget that the show is fully listener supported. There's no ads, no portals, no corporate sponsorship, nothing like that. It's fully run by listener donations. I want to thank everybody for helping, because we do get, monthly subscribers as well that help out with all our monthly fixed bills, and we need to do something like this. People are chipping their money to help us buy a new computer, so thanks.
Yeah, we appreciate the help. There is about 25 tickets left. 25 tickets left.
Or the end of May, depending on what comes first.
Or
right?
the end of May, whichever comes first. So you got to get yours right away. There's only 2 weeks left. Ideally, it'd be nice to sell them out. So we don't have to go into pocket so much. But if you can buy one, buy one. They're $20 each, or 3 for $50. And there's some people on there that have bought 7 or 8 at this point.
Yeah, well, people email a lot suggesting the guest that they want us to have on and all that. So this is an opportunity to actually come on with a guest that you want us to have on and pick the guest. Yeah,
and you can
subject to our approval, of course, but we're pretty cash here.
Yeah, and you can do the interview on your new iPad.
That's right. Yeah. Full of Grimerica jingles, and
we'll give you access to all our jingles, all the podcasts. Man, there's a lot of podcasts. I don't know if there'll be room for all the podcasts.
Yeah, of course there is. Oh yeah, that's something I want to mention. Go into the back catalog. It's all free. There's how many episodes? 160
169.
169 episodes.
At average 100 megabytes a piece. So that's 16 gigs.
You can see them all pretty easy in your podcast player. Most podcast players, I would assume, if you go and check out like our older episodes on the website, I guess you can get there as well. It might be a little more clunky, hey Darren. And on YouTube, I don't know how
if you just go to grimerica.ca/player,
and
all
then
of them you can do that. It does 10 at a time, and you
can
can go through, or you can go to just. There's a.
The problem is with the players, the description's not very good. Like you can't see the description properly.
But if you're on your iPhone, you should be using a fucking podcatcher like a regular person. If you're on a computer, the player actually looks pretty nice.
I don't think so. No, I don't know. I think the description.
Go there now.
I am.
How's it look?
And then how would people go back find YouTube ones? Like, is there a list? Like, if you
YouTube, I guess you would just go to videos and YouTube will sort it out. Like, you can go to our channel,
right? And then
from there you can do
right?
latest or most popular or however you want them sorted. Every episode's actually, you know what? There's probably about 15 episodes that never made it to YouTube.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, mostly just like passports. So all the interviews are on YouTube. There's a few passports, and I didn't do any of the Paradigm ones.
Grimerica's locking up. Either that or it's my computer.
Grimerica's locking up?
I can't get there.
The site?
Yeah.
That's not good.
No, that's not good.
Something tells me it's your computer, hopefully.
People have also helped out the show in those ways. We've had somebody help out with the website, and Justin helps out with the newsletter. People send jingles in all the time.
Wayne Darnell does the website.
Yeah.
Darnell Digital Ink.
Yeah. A couple guys do the artwork or try to do the artwork for every week. Send in the episode art. So people help out in many ways. We appreciate it. Oh, there you go. I'm in now.
Up many ways.
So click on podcast player.
Or just go grimerica.ca/player. I think grimerica.ca/listen sends you there as well. Does seem slow. I hope that's not because of the website.
Something's going on. So good timing to talk about it.
Yeah.
So anyways. So
maybe it's our internet.
So what do you want to do? I got some listener emails and synchronicities. You got anything to talk about?
I did want to mention that we used Alter de Ruin's music last show. He emailed us in, Mike J from, it looks like they will be coming through Calgary at some time.
Oh yeah, that one.
They're going to buy us some rounds.
Cool.
And the band is Alter de Ruin, or ADR. The website and everything is in the show notes for last episode. So go to grimerica.ca/ep168. Go down to the bottom. All your links are going to be there.
I guess, do you want to, while we're on this topic of support and all that, do you want to talk about the t-shirt thing? So just so people know, we don't have a store set up or anything like that, but we do have a few t-shirts available. So it's not very, professional. It's basically like if you wanted to get a t-shirt, you could send in a $25 donation and mention, what do you do, Darren? Mention in the notes or something that you want one, and then we'll catch it there, and you could email Graham as a follow-up.
Yeah, and if you don't, just keep hounding us.
Yeah, I know it's bad to do that, but right now we don't have anything professional set up, so we're just sort of winging it and just sending out the odd t-shirt here and there. So, but I mean, really, we haven't had a lot of requests since the upgrade program started because most people are just pitching in for that. But if people do want t-shirts, they can specifically send a request for that.
We still have a few?
We got lots of
smalls.
Take the shot because people don't want to kill Sasquatch.
No, it's because we got to take the shots 2 months later.
No, I don't think so. People just aren't into it. People want to save Sasquatch.
Do they?
Yeah.
Good for them. Maybe when they actually run into a Sasquatch, that'll change.
No. The people that want to kill him,
fucking
that
gang
will change.
raped by a couple of fucking adolescent fucking Sasquatch.
Okay, take it easy over there. Wow. You're kind of being racist to the Sasquatches.
It's not racist when they're not human. You can call it discriminatory. Or
you don't know that they're not human. They could be an ancestor of ours.
And that's not human.
They could have Rh negative blood.
They could. Still not human.
I'm listening
Unless you
to,
think they're feral humans.
we should get Nick Redferns back on the show. I'm listening to one of his books right now. Fuck, it's pretty cool.
Nick, we should. He was like our 5th guest. We haven't had him on in almost 3 years. Bloodline of the Gods.
Yeah, it's about the blood, like Rh negative blood and all that. There's some fucking crazy stuff going on with that.
Really?
Yeah.
Who
And
has it?
And my friend Michael in Vancouver, I was hanging around with my sister and Donovan there. He's done this research into toxoplasmosis and how it doesn't affect people with Rh negative blood the same as other people. And there's some crazy stuff.
Who has Rh negative blood? The royal family?
Apparently a lot of like the presidents, but also a higher percentage in abductees and a higher percentage in all these other areas. And there's something about the blood from a place in Spain, like this town in Spain, where they're like 40% negative. It's pretty crazy. There's some really weird correlations. And you know Nick, he's a great writer, and the book it's really good so far. So we should have him on.
Yeah, I got him on. I think we're Facebook friends. I think he would. Yeah, I'll shoot him a message.
I'll put a link to that in the show notes, too, just for the heck of it.
Just for the heck of it.
But it's on audio, which was great. So I heard about the book from Mike, and then I checked it out, and it's on audio. So
how do you find time?
I barely do, man.
Barely.
That's why it's on audio.
You don't get to listen at work.
I read the book from tonight's guest too. So
read it.
Yeah.
How long is it?
100 pages.
It's like a night.
So what do you want to get into, man? We got sort of trip report type stuff.
I think it's been a while since we played this one.
I want a good score for my synchronicity. If Graham reads it out, then Darren might give it to me. Hey, don't you please read it low. Yeah.
You do not improve the jingles with your singing.
Like that jingle gets me pumped.
Is it?
Yeah, it reminds me of like 1987.
I'm waiting for someone to send in the like Dvorak montage of you saying something ridiculous, like turn it into a rap song or something.
Okay, so this is from Boo Radley.
Boo Radley?
Yeah.
Brad?
Yeah.
Brad.
I don't know.
Like came to the igloo, Brad?
I don't know. It's just Brad, so I don't know what Brad it is.
Oh, not like our buddy Brad?
I don't think so. So he says, hey there, boys. So I've been super reluctant to send you this synchro lately because I noticed there for a hot minute you were constantly getting owl synchros after the Mike Clellan episode. This one happened weeks ago. However, I cannot stop thinking about this night and all of the symbolism that occurred. You ready, Darren?
I'm ready.
So I was driving back home from my parents. You'll get a kick out of this one for many reasons, Darren. So I was driving back home to my parents' house for the weekend.
Nothing.
At the moment, I had currently not.
I'll reserve my comments.
At the moment, I had currently not been smoking cannabis for about a month. No, for a couple months, he says, as I needed to take a break for personal reasons. You should consider that too.
I took like a year off. I took a year off.
When you were 13?
No, like 3 years ago.
Really?
No, actually, I guess no, not 3 years ago. Probably closer to five or 6 years ago. I took probably wasn't a year, but it was a good 9 months.
How'd you feel? Did you dream again?
I was doing a lot of
other stuff.
Yeah.
That doesn't count. Fuck. Okay, but I decided that it would be okay just smoking this one night. Considering there would be nobody home.
Okay.
Considering there would be nobody.
How old is he?
I don't know. It doesn't say. I'm guessing he's our age.
Doesn't it say he was driving home from school?
No. But he did say back
College
home to my parents, so
yeah,
maybe he's a bit younger than us.
Or maybe he's college break.
Yeah, maybe. So he says, considering there would be nobody home and I could just relax by myself for once. So I took a couple of big hits and put on a Mysterious Universe episode, which you guys turned me on to. So thank you for that. This particular episode just happened to be about owl synchronicities, although Mike Clellan was not mentioned, which kind of disappointed me. Anyways, just about the moment when they started discussing owls, oh, excuse me, I realized that I was way too high to drive on the interstate and decided to take one of the back roads home through the country so I could drive slower at my leisure. It had just started getting dark and I was slightly freaking out a bit about how high I was. I guess I thought I would be there. I guess I thought I would be able to handle just a bit after my break, but this weed was pretty strong. Anyways, I'm driving along wondering if I'm going to see an owl because I just listened to a podcast about owls. And all of a sudden, I came over this hill and standing in the middle of the road is the biggest fucking owl I've ever seen. I would have had to guess it stood about 2 feet tall and had really fluffy gray feathers, almost like a baby owl would have. Well, I nailed this poor guy right in the face. I didn't even have a chance to swerve. It scared the living shit out of me.
You hit a baby owl?
No, it's not a baby owl. He says almost like a baby owl would have, the fluffiness. It was 2 feet big. It was a big owl.
Oh.
Just with fluffy gray feathers. So shaken up a bit,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. So
that had to crack the windshield.
No, it's 2 feet, man. That's like in the bumper.
Oh,
area.
But it was an owl?
They said it was an owl.
I thought I picture it as coming into the windshield.
Really?
Man, I hit 2 coyotes one year.
Really? In the same accident?
No, one was coming back from Edmonton and one was coming back from Red Lake.
Wow.
And the one on the way back from Red Lake, I was borrowing my buddy's little Prelude. It was just a tiny little fucking car. This boom, nailed the car. You know, almost feel it hit your feet.
Wow. Yeah, well, you probably did feel it hit your feet when you got out of the car. So anyways, shaken up a bit, I continued down the road, and about 10 minutes later, I came up over another hill, and there's a fucking cow standing in my lane, staring right at me. I barely had a moment to swerve to the right, almost losing it in the ditch, and barely got back on the road. Once again, almost shitting my pants. Now, here's where it gets a little more interesting. About 3 years ago, I started getting into Native American animal totems. According to the natives, every animal has qualities that relate to humans, and when we have strange interactions with them, that is supposed to be the Great Spirit communicating to us through the animal kingdom. So cows represent health. I won't get into why, but they do. I've had some strange situations with cows, and each situation fit perfectly into my health at the time. One time I saw a bunch of cows all standing in the exact same direction and perfectly spaced apart like a grid pattern. This was when I had just started eating healthier and working out. The current situation fits into the fact that I've been eating like a slob lately and gaining a bunch of weight and being lazy and probably on the verge of killing myself. According to the natives, the owl represents wisdom, which I've been completely neglecting lately. By not reading like I said I would, probably getting caught up in this dumb fucking election and not thinking about my safety and those personal reasons for not smoking. So immediately after I almost destroyed this cow in my future, I began praying to whatever it is I pray to please guide me home and make it a safe trip, with which a hawk flew directly in front of my truck and looked at me. A hawk represents spiritual vision. I can only take that to mean that my spirit guides heard me and were there to guide me, and they were glad that I took notice. Haha. Anyway, sorry for the long story. Part of why I was reluctant to tell it. If you need to paraphrase it, I'm okay with that. Again, I love the show, guys. Keep up the good work.
That's a lot of animals. The fact that he just smoked his first joint in a couple of months.
And hit an owl? Like, what happened to the owl? Like, wouldn't you stop and try and help the owl? Or
give it fucking mouth to mouth?
I don't know. Put it out of its misery if it needed to be. What if it was suffering on the side of the road or something? Or what if it's really
would you
just
stop? Are you going to stop?
What if it's just a screen memory and it actually, when you get out there, it turns into a gray
and nobody's there?
Because it's been injured.
Oh.
And then you could give it mouth to mouth.
What?
Well, I mean, if you can't do it in owl shape.
An odd
maybe
thing to say. Yeah, the country roads, you see a lot of animals. Yeah, I'm gonna assume he's telling the truth.
Yeah, you got to do that for this exercise.
I'll give him a 7.5.
Nice. There you go, Brad.
You'll be rad. I think your spirit animal telling you to smoke more grass and eat less trash.
That's right. Do you want to get into something a little bit more cold and dark, or a little bit more of another lighter synchro?
Let's keep it light.
Keep it light? Okay, it's a fortune cookie update.
Which fortune cookie?
This is for our friend Jim.
I forget about that gag sometimes.
Darren got me real good on a fortune cookie gag. Actually, you were a bit of an illusionist there. A bit of a magician.
Yeah, that was a magician.
Yeah, had me going totally.
Which episode is that?
I don't know. It was, I don't know. It was way back, like around 100, I think.
Was it that long?
No, I don't
think
it was that
after
long.
that. We were in here.
Yeah.
So I think we got in here around 120, 125.
So this is from Margaret. She says, "Hi, you two. Had to send you some spam due to my recent fortune cookie message. You could almost consider it a synchro, as it happened at the perfect time. Anyways, basically for the last few years, I've been trying to inform my friends and family of all the media lies and corruption in the governments and around the world. In my eyes, the new world order I smell daily." Oh, I like that. The new world odor. I like it. I didn't notice that the first time I read it. They hate it. They don't want to hear about it. They want to spend life in a perpetual haze, and started to get nasty about it. My mom called me a radical. My dad called me a conspiracy theorist. And my friends can't form a thought for themselves, sadly. So I was basically down and out, starting to feel super self-conscious about myself. Anyway, my best friend and I went for Chinese. She can be especially hard on me about my skepticism of world events. Over our meal, I mentioned a few random things, and she, of course, rolled her eyes at me. When I opened my cookie at the end of the meal, though, it said, "Your knowledge of current events will help you." She didn't have much to say. Whatever it means, for me, it validated that I'm not wasting my time having a clue. Thank you so much for the show. I enjoy all your guests, and whatever the topic, you keep it interesting and worthwhile. I'm very glad you guys are in my hometown, too. Not much worthwhile comes out to Calgary, but you guys do. Oh, she says, "Lastly, I love your music, all your jingles, but also tracks you play between stuff, and your new opener in the theme." Oh, I'm not going to read this part. I remember when Darren brainstormed that. Was that the singer from the Higher Side Chats? I think so, but if you've mentioned it, I missed it. Take care and thank you.
What?
She was mentioning the greatest, funniest home videos jingle. She likes it, and I can't stand it. So. Oh, no. No, seriously.
Some say they like coast to coast, but on demand, raw and uncut interviews.
I'll play it at the end. It's pretty long.
Yeah. So how did these people, she remembers you brainstorming that jingle?
I don't know how.
Maybe you were tweeting it out or something, or behind my back, or emailing people or something?
I don't think so.
Because that was another surprise from the magician Darren.
Huh.
Anyways. So thanks, Margaret.
Margaret.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone named Margaret.
No, but yeah. Anyways, you were involving people, I'm sure. Or people knew you were brainstorming it, I'm sure.
I don't think so.
No?
Anyway, I wonder if that is the same singer. I just used Fiverr.
I bet you it is.
I
Yeah.
just used Fiverr. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I bet it is. Yeah, that's yeah. She's got a keen ear there. So speaking of local-ish type stuff, we have the No Agenda meetup. For those of you that listen to the No Agenda show, it's one of our favorite podcasts.
Next weekend, right?
And there's like at least 7 of us going, I think.
That is this weekend, isn't it?
No, it's coming up on the May 28th.
Oh, the 28th.
So it's in Red Deer, because that would be in between, Edmonton and Calgary. And
is it on a Saturday?
It's on a Saturday at 3 o'clock. At the 111 Grill.
I might just come anyway.
Yeah. The 111 teen. No, what was that?
11-teen.
11.
That would be 11-teen.
Yeah.
No. 11-teen would be 21.
I'm trying to remember the way Tolkien said it in The Hobbit.
111?
Yeah.
111th?
111 maybe or something? No. Anyways.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, anyways. So that's that.
Let's go for...
Darren and Graham are going deep. It's a profound UFO quote of the week.
I don't get to do my MUFON report?
You can do whatever you want, but this is a jingle I'm playing.
Oh, so I can't. Okay. All right.
It's a profound UFO quote of the week.
Your singing doesn't help either, buddy.
I think it does.
So
I have
profound
the voice of an
UFO
angel.
quote of the week. So having
I've
spent
been called the songbird of a generation. Right? Mustachio.
Having spent a great deal of my life in the air as a pilot, I know that many pilots have seen phenomena that they cannot explain. These men, most of whom have talked to me, have been very reticent about talking about this publicly because of the ridicule that they were afraid would be heaped upon them. However, there is a phenomena here that isn't explained. That's Congressman Jerry L. Pettis, House Committee on Science and Astronautics hearing on UFOs, 19th Congress, second session, July 29th, 1968.
1968.
Yeah.
Same year.
My dad was just putting the moves on my mom.
Was he?
Yeah.
Why, when's your birthday?
July 11th, 1970. So he's probably courting her for about a year by then.
Was he?
I don't know.
So you would have been conceived
in
69?
Yeah. September 69, probably.
Woodstock.
Imagine if that.
I don't think it was in September.
Mom, did you go to Woodstock? So that's it, buddy.
That's it?
Yeah.
I thought you had something dark.
No, that's for next time.
Okay. What else do we have to get to? Grimerica.ca/support. Sign up for a monthly. We had a few people actually upgrade their monthlies from $1 to $3, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, moving on up. Most people have been doing the upgrade thing lately, but while you're there, head on over to Grimerica.ca/support and see if you can usurp Aaron as our I don't know what the word is.
Usurp?
Usurp, is that it?
Yeah.
Usurp?
Yeah.
You son of a bitch. Anyway.
I could get you on a lot of them.
Could you?
Yeah.
But you don't?
I'm going to start.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I've got emails about it too. I'm backing it all up.
Do you?
Yeah.
Nice. People are gagging up on me?
A little bit.
That's fine. I got big shoulders. Yeah. So check that out. Spamgram. Enjoy the chat with Nate. Is that it? You got anything else? Last chance.
See you next week.
That's at the outro. Yeah.
Someone made a mess out of me again, and I'm trying to put things away and bury the worst of the fray. Somehow there's a lesson hidden within, and I'm trying to put two and two together, but I'm missing you. Somehow I got lost along the way, and I knew just where to go, but it's tough when your eyes are closed. Someday I will meet you here again. I'll be carrying all I can hold and staring down a pot of gold. Hey, wait, stay for a while. There's things I brought to you that I carried all my.
All right.
I thought, see, that's what I'm talking about. I thought I hung up on you guys there.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right. So tonight we have Nate Staniforth on in Grimerica. He's a magician. He's actually a real magician. He's a performer, a writer, a traveler. He's done lots of traveling. He was the former host of Discovery Channel's Breaking Magic, and he's just about to start his Real Magic Tour 2016. But he's fascinating because he talks about sense of wonder that he's experienced in his magician's experience, and we're going to talk to him about that among a lot of other stuff. So welcome to the show, Nate.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This is great.
Yeah, it's great to talk to a real magician.
That's what everybody does. People ask what I do for a living, and I tell them I'm a magician, and the immediate follow-up question is, oh, what instrument do you play? Because they just can't believe that, oh, there's actually a magician out there in the world. Yeah.
Well,
I know one other magician, T.D. Sparks. He does magician at my daughter's preschool. He's not very good. He's great with the kids, though.
You sure it's not a clown?
No, he's a magician. He's great with the kids. There was like maybe one little thing he did that wasn't super corny, but
kids are actually a really tough audience for magic because so much
they will call you out instantly.
Well, not only that, but there's this sort of set of social cues that adults learn that are really easy to exploit when it comes to trying to deceive people. That children just haven't learned those yet, and so. Yeah, performing for children. Yeah, if you can do that, more power to you.
Didn't you start on the playground? Was that your story?
I hope I did. Yeah, I was isn't a listener.
No, I think it's great. I mean, some people can do that really well. Yeah, I started. I think most people saw the Lord of the Rings movies, but when I was a little kid, I read the books. And 9 is this sort of curious age because you're old enough to slog through 1,300 pages of pretty obscure fantasy literature, but at the end, you're still young enough to, go to the library and still have hope that maybe you'll find a book of actual supernatural spells.
Yeah.
So that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a book of actual magic that I could cast on the playground. I wanted to do that scene where Gandalf has the fireworks that turn into the dragon, because if you could do that on the playground, you would be untouchable for the rest of your elementary school career. Turns out that's not how it works, but I found a book of just basic sleight of hand. And
what was the first trick you learned?
So it was very simple. It was you put a coin in your hand, you close your hand, and when you open your hand,
he hung up on us.
I think
obsessed about weird things. Like I just became obsessed about this, and I bet I put 400 hours. Like before school, I'd wake up early. After school, I came home, didn't play football, didn't play soccer, didn't do any of that. I just worked on this coin trick because I was just fascinated this idea that I could do something that other people would think was impossible. And so, for the first few months or whatever, it wasn't amazing at all. But I will never forget the first time that I did it, just practicing in front of the bathroom mirror. And it didn't look like a magic trick. It looked like an actual miracle. And so, I decided that I wanted to see how the kids on the playground would respond to this. Because I had never done magic for people. I'd never seen a magician. This was my first, experience with magic. And the thing that I didn't know that I've learned since is that, when you're watching a magic show, there's this contextual safety. You know that you're watching a performance. So you can see the craziest things happen, but you can categorize it in your mind as a magic trick. So it's safe. It's okay. These kids had none of that. They just saw something disappear. So they didn't jumping up and down and running around, and that was not what I was expecting at all.
Huh. So we're losing, we're having weird
internet problems.
We're having weird internet problems here. Can you hear us right now, Nate?
Yep. Are you there?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, obviously that response triggered a pretty deep interest, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just, the teacher on the playground came over. And, it's one thing having kids to sort of scream and run around, but this, I want to say she was like 60, very authoritarian, very terrifying presence on the playground. And she demanded to see whatever it is that I showed the kids. And so I made the coin disappear for her as well. And I will remember the look of wonder on her face for the rest of my life. It was just this, it was like I had discovered a trap door. Like if with something as simple as a magic trick, you could make people feel that, why would you possibly do anything else, with your life? So it's like I learned you can say something with a magic trick that's very hard to say any other way. And I wanted to figure out what that was.
Wow. So then you went on to doing shows and stuff like that. And you've actually got a tour coming up, right? So you have like a bunch of these tricks that you've mastered over the years?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, like, we all know that I don't have magic powers, you know? Like, it's not about deceiving the audience. It's about using magic tricks in the same way that you might use skydiving or bungee jumping or trekking through the rainforest to sort of, I don't know, give people an experience that they can't have anywhere else. And so yeah, we're doing really small venues, 200, 250 seats. So it's a very intimate evening. Everyone's really close to it. And we started in March. This spring is just like a warm-up leg for us to figure out what we're doing logistically. Right now it's just me driving around in my car, and I don't know how sustainable that is. But the shows have been going really well.
Is it like, is that the proper term to call it a trick? Or is it like... tricks are fine. Illusions. Illusions. I always remember like Arrested Development. Job was like, it's an illusion.
Oh my God. Job has been the bane of my existence for the last decade.
Tricks are something whores do for money.
You have no idea how often people have quoted that line back to me. Like, I don't think it's quite once a day for the last decade, but it's on that level.
That's good.
So, like, yeah.
Are you an Arrested Development fan?
Oh, tremendous. Yeah, I just think
that's not too bad then. It could be worse.
No, they just got it so right. Like, the character of Job from Arrested Development represents so perfectly everything that I'm trying to kill in magic. That it was nice of them to compile it all in one place.
Yeah. It is weird though, because some tricks are so good that it does make you wonder, like, does this guy have superpowers, like supernatural powers? Like, even though you know, like, okay, he's just a magician, there's something to it, but some of them are so good you wonder.
Yeah, it's a curious thing, isn't it? You know, I've thought about that performance that I did on the playground as a 9-year-old a lot, because it was like I discovered a mystery there that I still haven't been able to solve. Because if I had put, you know, take that 400 hours that I put towards the coin trick. If I had put that 400 hours towards anything else, like playing the cello, like, I don't know how long or how far you get with 400 hours playing the cello. But if I had dragged my instrument out on the field and played, you know, whatever, it might have been interesting. It might have been beautiful, but it wouldn't have had that crush of fear and joy behind it. And that is unique to magic. It's sort of ability to take the unknown and bring it into the day-to-day lives of the spectators. I love that.
Yeah, we love it too. And that's part of the reason why we do the show. Like we were saying just before we started recording, like we talk about, we have a lot of personal experiences. We talk about it on the show a lot. It's like from listeners, from guests.
Sure.
We get into things that might have shifted the career of somebody, like some synchronistic moment or a strange experience that's unexplained. And behind it all is like this sense of wonder, right? The wonder of the unexplained and the sense of mystery, and not so much for needing to find the truth or the answer, but just that sense of wonder and mystery, really. So it kind of fits in with what we do here as well.
I've listened to a few of your episodes, and I get that sense as well. It's like, here's the thing. I feel like when you're a kid, it's easy to be amazed because everything's new. And so your brain is just constantly on the hunt for truth, you know, finding out what is really going on here. And at some point, and this happens at a different point for everyone, but you sort of decide you know what's going on. You know, the temptation, at least for me, I guess I can't speak for anyone else, is towards just sort of assuming that I've got it figured out. And my favorite moments are those that sort of barge in the front door and drag me out on the street and sort of shake me and, you know, say, wake up. There's more to it than that.
Yeah.
And you know, you can find that anywhere. You can find it in movies or music or poetry or basketball or conversations or the night sky. And, you know, everything I've been doing is built on the conviction you can do it with magic tricks too. But everyone's got their own thing to sort of wake up and stay awake and see things the way you saw them before they became ordinary. And I love that. And
what about different cultures? You've traveled a lot. What about India? Was it the same type of thing?
Yeah, here's what happened. I think this is probably true of a number of professions as well. Like, I wanted to be a magician since I was a little kid. And I worked really, really hard at that. And I discovered that the job wasn't what I thought it was. You know, I started touring while I was in college. I did 5 years on the road in America. And I just got really burned out. You know, it's like I had forgotten why I loved it in the first place. And so I felt like I was either going to quit or I had to go away and dream it all up again. And so I bought a one-way ticket to India and set out on this. It was like I know it sounds corny, but it was like a quest for wonder. Like I wanted to go away and explore a tradition of magic that was completely different from my own. And so I was looking for like street performers or snake charmers, or, you know, I didn't know, like every culture in the world has its own version of the magician, that sort of archetypal figure, you know, shaman, witch doctors, medicine men. And I wanted to see all that. And I wanted to sort of put myself in the audience and you know, I wasn't looking for magic tricks. I was looking for the experience of magic. And so yeah, in India, I just wandered around for a while and met with these people and spoke with them. And you know, the thing that I discovered is that it doesn't matter if you're young or old or rich or poor. You can be a sheep herder in Tibet or a taxi driver in Texas. Everyone everywhere responds to the impossible in the same way. And it was this incredible revelation that sort of through astonishment, you realize that despite all of the external differences, we're not nearly as different as it might seem. So yeah, it was a real adventure, and I hope to do it again someday.
What was the coolest trick you seen over there? What did you see over there that made you kind of...
Yeah, so I'll tell you, because I think about it a lot. So I tracked down this tribe of street magicians who traced their lineage back for 3,000 years. And before I tell you that, let me tell you this. So India has this tradition of nomadic street performer tribes who used to circuit the country performing in a different village every day or every evening, and then they'd walk on to the next one. And for thousands of years, they had these routes that they would just, you know, they'd travel and perform and perfect their craft. And over that time, they developed some incredible pieces of magic. Now, recently, the Indian government has cracked down on street performing. And so this you know, once venerated tribe is now living in a slum outside New Delhi. So to make a very long story much shorter, I backpacked across India trying to find these people, and I found them. And you may have seen at a carnival or at a circus or a sideshow this fire breathing stunt where someone breathes in, or someone you know takes a drink of kerosene and then spits it through a torch and it makes this big burst of fire. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Okay. So here's what happened, and I have this on video, so I know I'm not just remembering it wrong. This is what happened. This old man, I bet he was 82. Opened his mouth and showed me that it was completely empty. And then he closed his mouth and started breathing quietly through his nose, sort of snorting. And the first time, nothing happened. And the second time, smoke came out of his nose. And then he started coughing, just sort of coughing out bursts of fire that shot from his mouth like a dragon, like jets of fire from his mouth, maybe 12 to 18 inches long, just in rapid succession. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that was it. And he opened his mouth and showed that it was empty again. And it just blew. It was like getting struck by lightning. Like I'd never seen anything like that before. And it just sort of shook me to my core, because I'm supposed to know how that stuff works, you know? And it was unlike anything I'd ever seen. So
can you do that now?
No, I have no idea. I have no idea how they did it.
I should try that.
Do you bother trying? Like, do you get stuck trying to figure it out, or do you just let it go?
You know, it's interesting. I feel like you
guys don't tell each other everything.
Well, okay. So a couple things on that. I think the perception is that magicians are very secretive about, you know, their craft, but the reality is that it's such a small community that you either know everyone or you're maybe 1 degree of separation away from someone. And there's this great worry that, you know, secrets will be lost, or that, you know, there's just not enough of us to be really bitterly competitive about it. So there's this great culture of helping and sharing and collaborating on ideas, and it can be very helpful. But one of the I don't know if cruel paradox, that might be oversaying it, but one of the problems with magic is that you get into it because you love the experience of wonder and astonishment. But the better you get at giving that experience to other people with magic tricks, the harder it gets to feel yourself, because a magic trick isn't amazing when you know the secret and you get to a point where it feels like you know all the secrets. So it's actually, when you see a magician perform something that you can't explain, it's a really special moment. And I feel like most magicians would tell you that they don't try to pick it apart, that they're thankful that someone had put in the work to elevate a piece, to the point where it can fool other magicians, because we love that feeling, and it gets harder and harder to find when you know all the secrets.
Do you know any okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that brings me to another question I have for you. Is because you feel like you know all the secrets, does that create a skepticism in magicians? Like, it makes me think of who are the two guys in Vegas all the time that are really skeptical?
Penn and Teller.
Yeah, Penn and Teller, and then Amazing Randy, or these other guys that, because I almost have a sense that because they've tricked people for so long, and not in a negative way, but they've performed for so long, and they know all the secrets, and that they don't believe that in the supernatural at all, like extended consciousness or telepathy, or there's some pretty hardcore skeptics in that community. Is that pervasive throughout your community?
I don't know. I don't think it's pervasive. I think the skeptical community and the magic community certainly have very close ties. But I feel like there's a larger picture there, and maybe the bridge with the skeptical community is just part of it. I feel like what you do develop is an understanding that the human rational process is just extraordinarily frail, and the more faith you put in it, the easier it is for you to be fooled. My all-time best performance was at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland for a room full of engineers who started the show with their arms, almost to the person, with their arms crossed, sort of, very, very overtly skeptical about a magic show. And that's just one of those truths that you discover as a magician, that the easiest people to fool are those who believe that they can't be fooled. The harder someone's, it's strange. It's sort of like what we were talking about with the children at the beginning of this talk. The harder someone's paying attention, and the more certain they are that you won't be able to fool them, the easier it is to deceive them. And so, for me, the result that's had is that I'm very suspicious of certainty, ontological certainty anyway. It's very hard for me to put all of it's very hard for me to really believe that I understand, what's going on, because I know how easy it is for me to see what I expect to see, because that's something that magicians exploit, or how easy it is for me to see what I want to see, because it's another thing magicians use all the time to deceive an audience. And so I'm very aware of it's easier to deceive yourself than anyone. And I think maybe a very popular lie that our culture likes to tell itself is that we've got it pretty much figured out. How this all works. And I've just, you can only see so many grown, sober, well-educated adults jumping up in a theater and screaming. Like I had a guy in Virginia stand up on he stood up in the theater and then climbed up on his chair, standing on the armrest of the chair in the theater, and he just he silenced the audience in the middle of the show and pointed at me and said, "To hell with you, you're the devil, I'm out of here." And he stormed away. And I don't know. It's like you can only see that so often before you realize that whatever faith that we have when we believe with conviction any particular set of any worldview backed with unwavering certainty, I feel like is just bound to be proven wrong at some point.
Yeah, that fits right in with our point of view, I think. So what about your state of being, your state of belief, say, as a performer, as a magician? Does it help you to be in a state of belief or self-confidence that you can do what you do? Like, what if is there a big difference between if you're on or you're off that night, or if you're in a if you're having, like, let's say a low self-esteem night or something like that, do you have to do any sort of ritual or anything to bring you up to like this confidence level, or like a really like with unwavering belief that you can fool these people? Or?
Oh yeah, totally. And you know, I think some performers really relish the act of getting on stage and performing for people. And like, I'm a very private person. Like when I'm not working, I don't like to be the center of attention. But what I do have is absolute faith in the material, because I have just, you know, I hit Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours the summer I turned 22. You know, like I have been with some of the pieces in my show for a long time, and it just sort of gives you, like when you can trust your material, it gives you a confidence that maybe you don't feel personally. But I know I can go into any room in the world, and if I have these pieces with me, I can make an audience believe in magic, and so it's that is the source of my confidence. It's not that I think, you know, that I have what it takes to make 800 people go crazy, but I know I've got a good set of material that I've built over the last 20 years.
Do you get into like a flow state, like an athlete would, sort of, after practicing much that the stuff just comes natural and you'll do things, you know, just sort of automatically with that confidence?
I was talking to my wife about this. I wish she could be married to that guy. Like, I wish my family could know the guy that I am on stage, because I'm just, I'm actually smarter. Like my brain works faster on stage, and I can make these sort of intuitive leaps and stick the landing that I can't do in real life. And so that's, yes, absolutely. I was talking with a boxer about this, and he called it the white zone, and how when he's in the ring, he just sort of disappears inside himself. And there are moments when he's in the fight, but he's more a participant, you know, watching from outside than the person fighting in the ring. And I can relate to that very much.
Can you do any tricks over the radio? Can you amaze me from afar? That would be if I could do that, I would never have to leave home. I'd just get people to dial in. You could do a podcast, just blowing people's minds.
That's right. I do a 1-episode podcast where I just record the show once, and then that's it. You know, it's funny that you bring that up, actually. Before TV, there was this whole genre of magic that was performed on the radio. And every week, these magicians would invite a studio audience in, and the magician would perform for them. And the listener at home would just trust that the audience in the studio was keeping the magician honest. And it's fascinating, really. Someone should, you know, I'm telling you this now, and maybe I will pick that up again, because it's something that people aren't really working on. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that. It is hard to...
Give me a few months and I'll come back to you with a radio magic show.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, definitely if you come to Calgary, come in studio and blow our minds.
Are you coming to Calgary?
You know, I've never done a show in Calgary before. I've never done a Canadian tour. Growing up, we'd go on vacation to Canada every year, but I've never worked there before.
I bet we're more gullible.
Do you think so?
I bet.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Went on my honeymoon in Canada.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I went to Nova Scotia, and then you've got some amazing provincial parks too. So
Nova Scotia, that's Bay of Fundy. Is that where that
right up in there.
Crazy tide is? The biggest tide in the world, I think, right?
That's right, yeah.
It'll be all right. What's what's in your repertoire? What's a trick to look for? What's your like closer? I know you're not going to give us any secrets, obviously,
no,
but
right.
like,
yeah, let me say it this way: I'm very interested in coincidence, because so here's the problem as a magician: like you just sort of have to follow the logic to the end, because if you're going to be honest with the audience about the fact that I don't have magic powers, you know, I tell that to them right at the beginning. But that really limits the kind of material I can do, because, you know, when you make something disappear and say abracadabra, what you're really implying to the audience is that when you say abracadabra, like something magical happens and then the elephant disappears. And so I've been trying to figure out what I can do honestly for an audience. And I really love the idea of coincidence, because coincidence is this curious sort of place where the worlds of faith and the worlds of reason wrestle each other to a draw. You know, like you could flip a coin 10 times and have it come up head every time and say it was destiny, or you could say it was chance, but neither side could really prove their case.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a magician, that's really fertile ground, because for the skeptics, you can engage them in a way that they can resonate with, and for the believers, you can engage with them. And it's a way of talking about the impossible without alienating anyone. And so anyway, in my show, there are a lot of pieces that you could dismiss as coincidence, but as the show progresses, you realize that, you know, clearly that couldn't explain everything. And so,
can you give us an example of that?
Well, yeah, well, just
without ruining it for anybody.
No, it's fine, because the show's different every night, and so, you know, if you came one night, you might see something different than you saw the next night. But my signature piece is you know, where I would give you something to hold, but I wouldn't tell you what it is, and you just have to hold it tightly so no one could see it. And I'll send you the YouTube video so you can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So someone's holding something on stage, but no one knows what it is. And then I throw a beach ball around the auditorium and get 6 people to stand up and call out a 2-digit number. So 16, 34, 20, you know, whatever. And then when the person on stage opens their hands and shows everyone what I gave them at the beginning, it's a lottery ticket with the numbers on the lottery ticket matching the numbers that were just called out in the audience. So it creates this moment where, like, you can think of it as a trick as you want to, but clearly there's no way for me to control where the beach ball goes, and the person's been standing on stage, you know, holding that thing from the beginning. You can think of it as a coincidence, but the odds of that working by chance are in the, you know, literally in the trillions. And so I love that nothing overtly magical happens, but it's still, you know, undeniably strange. That's what I'm going for in the show. I want it to just be the strangest night people have ever had. You know, if they leave asking how I did it, I feel like that I haven't done a very good job, because the questions should get more interesting than that.
Yeah, that's the mind-blowing stuff for me, because you're like, how could that ever possibly happen? How can people yell those numbers and then the thing in there is the exact same? Like, that would blow me away.
You look a little amazed over that.
I am. Well, I'm just looking at the dates now.
Magic, you guys.
I think we might be onto something.
Are you close to the border at all? Like, is there any shows in Montana?
You know, I think we'll play Seattle and Portland. I think that's probably the closest to the border we'll get. I've played Havre, Montana more than maybe anyone else. I think I've played that. There's a college there that I've been to maybe 4 times, 5 times. But they're not on our schedule for the fall. But I'd love to get to Canada. You know, we're working on bringing the show to the UK, and it's you know, we started a new production company for this tour, and we're very much figuring it out as we go. So as soon as we get the logistics in place, yeah, I want to take it everywhere. So
now's the time to come to Canada. Cheap expenses.
Yeah.
Maybe give me a few months to figure it out.
You'll have to charge more because our dollar ain't worth shit.
Right.
So what was it like for working for the Discovery Channel there on that?
So here was the idea. The plan was to do the Mythbusters of magic.
Oh.
And so we wanted to, the show is called Breaking Magic, and the goal was to use magic to illustrate certain scientific principles. So it was sort of Mythbusters in reverse. So we didn't want to give away any real magic secrets, but we realized that there are certain, you know, principles in science that can be dressed up like magic tricks and used to amaze people, and that's an interesting, you know, premise for a show. So we filmed 15 episodes. I lived in London for 3 months to do that, and it was the strangest possible way to meet a country, because, you know, like every day you'd go to work and do some bizarre stunt and people would watch, and then, you know, I'd go back and do it again and again and again. So the whole time is sort of a blur, but but it was definitely a good time.
Good experience. And
yeah, very much.
And your TED Talk, that must have been a bit strange too. How was that for you?
The TED Talk was the 15 most excruciating moments of my entire life.
You look pretty comfortable out there.
That's very nice of you to say. The problem with magic is that most people do tough, frightening, humiliating things in their lives in whatever profession you're in. Magicians just do those things very publicly. And it was just, I took a month off to put those thoughts together because I really wanted to get it right. And it's just, talking about magic is tough because, again, I was just always aware that when people hear magic, they think Job from Arrested Development. And
or the Chris Angel type of tight leather pants and
totally
sort of goth looking.
Right. Yeah.
Would you say is there in your community, is there an increase or a decrease, would you say, or has it just stayed the same? Like as far as people doing that, like people sort of being able to carry on this legacy of trickery?
Here's what happened with magic. So let me say it this way. The electric guitar was invented in something like 1932, but it took, 15 to 20 years for the Fender Telecaster was the first really widely available commercial electric guitar that the average, teenager could have in their basement or their garage. And that changed music forever. Like, Jimi Hendrix had one, Bob Dylan had one, John Lennon had one. Music just splintered in 1,000 different directions when the electric guitar, sort of proliferated through the cultures of the world. And magic's electric guitar moment was David Blaine's 1997 TV special Street Magic. And I don't know if you saw it, if you remember it.
That's the one where he levitates?
Yeah, it was just him in a deck of cards doing basic magic tricks, just going around on the street, doing street magic for people. And it was the first time that us kids who were interested in magic, before that we had any magic on TV had just been, $1 million lighting rigs and very expensive props and Las Vegas style production and totally unattainable. And then here was this guy dressed in a sweatshirt doing magic with a $2 deck of cards on one of the biggest TV networks in the world. And it just changed everything. Like overnight, people realized that you didn't need props, you didn't need lighting, you didn't need smoke machines, you didn't need special effects. All you needed was very direct, simple magic that could make the audience feel like they'd seen something impossible. And you could do that with a coin. You could do that with a coin trick. You could do it with a card. It suddenly the need for giant budgets disappeared, and the result is that more people are doing more things with magic now than ever before. We've seen probably the Elvis of magic before. We've seen the Kiss. I'm curious what the John Lennon of magic would look like. I'm curious what the Jimi Hendrix of magic will look like. And I think we'll see it. I think there are, people are learning on YouTube now. There's so many different ways to learn magic. I think magic is finally moving past the point of just sort of jumping up and down and saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. And people are in a position now to say some very interesting things using magic as their platform.
What tricks?
I can't wait to see it.
If I wanted to learn a couple of little tricks to amaze my kids with, what would you suggest?
Yeah.
Like, what are a couple of tricks for people who want to do magic, but probably are easily discouraged?
Right.
Because of the level of effort required to.
What are some good? Because I'm one of those people, and there's probably lots of people like me that, unless I see results, it's hard for me to keep going with something. Like I have trouble working out or running, because it takes so long. But if I can, in a couple of days, do something simple that makes me go like, ooh, maybe I can figure this out, then I'm more likely to stick with it.
Sure. So I've got a couple of answers with you or for you. The first one might be disappointing in that, it may be more work than that. But it's absolutely worth it, because I feel like everyone should learn one truly great piece of magic, because you get, when you can do one thing, You don't need a whole show, just one thing. When you can do one thing that looks truly impossible, you just get to see a side of humanity that is usually kept very hidden and private. Because, there's that, I feel like most people do this thing, and I definitely do it, where you wake up in the morning and you put on the set of clothes that you put on, and you carry yourself in a certain way, and you choose the certain words that you use to sort of communicate a version of yourself or a vision of yourself out to the world. Like we're all sort of performing all the time. There's that, I don't remember if it's T.S. Eliot or John Lennon, but that line about putting on the face to meet the faces that you meet. Everyone does this. And the amazing thing about magic is it sort of makes people forget to be cool for a second. Like when you see something impossible, suddenly you stop that performance and you're no longer trying to project something out to the world. And you're just sort of in this moment of
vulnerability,
unbridled, awe and wonder. And it makes all of those masks fall away. And seeing that as a magician, that's easily the most beautiful part of the job. It's just this really sort of poignant, fundamentally human moment that paradoxically is created by deception. So that's my way of saying that it's worth the time and effort to learn one really great piece of magic. But just for your listeners, there are a few good places to go. The problem is that the ethics of teaching magic is still being figured out on the internet, and there's a lot of people on YouTube who are just exposing other people's hard work. But there are a few people who really, people who are teaching magic on YouTube who do their homework and get permission. And so if you want to learn a good piece of magic right now, I would say the best source, at least on YouTube, is a channel called Scamschool. And it's not exclusively magic, but they do teach a few pieces of magic on there that are accessible for someone who's willing to give it at least a few hours work. So if you can do a few hours work,
a few hours,
I think
for
you
sure.
can get there. Yeah. Okay.
I put up with Graham on a daily basis.
What would you do? Cards, Darren, or cards? Would you like to?
I don't know. I'm gonna check out. What was it? Scamschool.com?
Scam School, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like I can learn how to do a little grifting while I'm there too.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You might be able to. Yeah.
Do people do people trust you less? Do you notice any of that? I wonder. I'm not saying I don't not trust you, but I don't know. Magicians could be looked upon as like gypsies, or is that racist?
I get that a lot, and I can't really explain it. But one of the common reactions, and people think they're hilarious when they're saying this, is they find out that I'm a magician. And then they say, "Oop, I'll watch my watch," or "Oop, stay away from my wallet," as if I'm really after the $7 they have in their wallet. I don't know. But that's sort of that's part of it. Everyone has this image of magic that I'm trying very hard to destroy, but it is definitely an uphill battle.
Did you do magic in India? If you do magic in India, are you I
definitely did.
I wonder if you get the healer, if there's the healer aspect of it. Is he gone?
The responses were interesting. I feel like, so two things happen. Because every culture in the world has its own, version of the magician, every culture has its own sort of, there's its own, every culture has its own set of expectations and sort of associations with that figure. So in America, when you think of a magician, you think of, Job from Arrested Development or a rabbit in a top hat. It's different in London. You're different in the UK. It's different in Australia. It's different in China. It's different in India. But so when people see something that they perceive as a magic trick, as a trick, their response to that experience depends as much on how their culture feels about magicians as it does, the trick itself. But whenever a trick is so good that they don't think it's a trick, that they think it's a miracle, they respond in exactly the same way. And so I did perform in India, partly as just a way to break the ice and sort of pierce that veneer that so many societies erect to protect themselves from tourists. I didn't want to get the tourist version of India. I wanted to sort of dive through that. And do magic for people, and they just have the most amazing responses. One guy invited me to his house for dinner, or down the street for tea. You're like, it's like you show magic to one person, and they want to show their family what they just saw, so they ask if you want to come to their house, and it became this way of seeing a side of the country that I don't think I could have seen if I hadn't been able to do magic. So, did
you have to do that in front of in to a certain extent to the street performers to get into that little circle there?
It's funny. They did want to see me perform something, and it turns out that one of the pieces I do in my show has its roots or has its ancestry in an illusion that they developed. And so the version that I do is, you take a spool of thread and you break off maybe 3 feet of thread and swallow it. And then you take a packet of sewing needles and you swallow, 6 or 7 sewing needles, and you show your mouth empty. And then when you pull the thread back out of your mouth, somehow the needles are threaded, on the thread. And so that's a nice little trick. I stole that from Houdini. He got it from someone else. But it turns out that piece can be traced all the way back to India. And so yeah, when I was in the slum performing it, I showed them my version. And then they sort of looked at each other, and one of them said, "Would you like to see how we do that?" and showed me a version that was just far more impossible. And so that was humbling but fascinating. And they saw that I was serious and that I had put in the time and at least thought I knew what I was doing.
Did you have to up
at least
your game
enough
when
to
you
show
got
me
back
there?
then?
You should have made a documentary, man. I would watch that shit on Netflix. Like,
no, it's interesting. I had a
in the
friend
street
travel
in the Indian street magician tribe, wandering around amazing people.
Maybe someday, yeah.
Can you see any of these tribes on YouTube, or not tribes? I guess what?
Well, I had a friend who was traveling at the time meet up with me for a while in India, and he was traveling around the world making documentaries about people because he thought that was interesting. And so yeah, he came into the slum was called Shadapur Depot, and he came with me that day, and we've got this great video of everything that happened there. So if you'd like, I'll send you the link. And
Yeah, for sure. It could be Nate in the depot.
Yeah, that's right.
Nate in the what?
Depot.
What's the depot?
Well, it's the last bit of what the slum is called. Shadapur Depot or whatever.
I get it. Nice. Look at you go.
So, well, thanks a lot for coming on, Nate. Is there anything else you want to mention before we wrap this up?
This is great. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to link to all that in the show notes. We have a lot of American listeners, so hopefully you see some of our listeners in the audience.
Yeah, and if any of you come to the show after listening to this, be sure to come up and say hello afterwards, because one of the fun things about doing small theaters is that afterwards no one leaves. Everyone just sort of stands around, and I end up, it's fun to go out and say hi and do magic for them.
Stealing wallets and stuff.
Watch your watches.
Yeah, stealing wallets and watches. That's right. Yeah, all sorts of petty larceny.
Lock up your daughters.
Oh, right on, Nate. Well, thanks a lot, and keep in touch if you end up coming into Canada.
Yeah, I certainly will, and I hope to make that happen.
Right on, buddy. Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Well, what'd you think?
Hey, that was good. Yeah, Nate's a great, very energetic speaker. Yeah, he's good, man. He does.
You seen some videos already?
Yeah, and I saw his TED Talk and all that, and yeah, he's good. Are you going to try something out here? Did it inspire you?
Maybe. I'll check it out. I'll check out the.
I feel
what
like
was it? Scam School? Yeah, no, I don't know. I could probably figure it out. It's really not much on a Saturday night after the kids go to sleep. To spend 3 or 4 hours pissing around.
Yeah.
While listening to a podcast or something.
Well, no, you can't. You have to fully focus on it. You can't just learn it while you're listening to something else.
Maybe you do.
So we should go to a magic show in Calgary. Do they come around? I'd like to go to it. Like, you'd think there'd be one every few months or something like that, like a good one.
The only magician I've ever seen here is
PT Kits.
TD Sparks.
TD Sparks.
Yeah. I might hire him for Madison's birthday.
Sponsored by Toronto Dominion?
No, I don't think so. I think he should sue him. But I might actually hire him. I'll invite you over. Maybe we can get him on.
Yeah, sure, yeah. They'll do some tricks for the radio.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah, bring him in the studio.
I don't want to get him listening to the show now.
Why? Who?
Because I said he was a
TD
bad
Sparks?
magician.
What? Did you? You didn't say it. It didn't come across that negative.
Okay. We'll
yeah,
see.
so that was that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good one. So, thanks for coming on, Nate. I'm going to have to check out the YouTube videos now and hopefully come to Calgary. As usual, guys, check out grimerica.ca/support. Sign up for a monthly. All sorts of different options there from $1 a month, which is less than any coffee anywhere in North America, to $30 a month, which is about one of those coffees a day.
Plus, the big thing right now, we're trying to finish off this upgrade, right?
Yeah,
a month left, or there's. We should probably talk about it in the intro to this, so we won't get into a lot of details. But we're buying a new recording computer before this old one craps out, and we'd like your support. So you can go to grimerica.ca/upgrade.
Upgrade.
And all the links to all this is in the show notes as well.
That's right. Click.
You can
Send us your cash. Big thanks to all our artists and people who sign up that way. If you don't have cash, you can always send other things. People send art. People send jingles. Spam's always good. Comes back your way in the form of content.
The other thing is, I might put all our upcoming shows in the backstage, so if people want to send in questions, they can actually.
I thought you were doing that.
What, really?
I thought, yeah.
No, it changes my whole workload.
Until Adam asked me about it when I was on his show.
Oh yeah, you
like,
fucking threw me under the bus, didn't you?
I was like,
he's not doing that anymore?
I was like, we do that. I was like, oh, he's supposed to still do it.
Thanks.
Because he pulled it up while we were talking. I was like, oh, Graham does that. And then he's like, well, the last thing on here is...
Is it not even emptied out?
I don't know. I'll check right now.
No, you don't have to check right now. Anyways, I'm going to put... It just changes the workload of now me writing stuff at the beginning instead of at the end in the show notes. So it just makes more work up front for me. So I just have to be able to shift that around. I need an evening to just get... a free evening to get it all going. Anyways, yeah, thanks for coming on and thanks for listening. Darren, you want to say anything else?
What's that? No. Tell your friends about the show. Oh, yeah, the last thing on here is the Grimerica Alien Holiday Fandango.
Yeah, that's a good place to leave it off.
And a bunch of comments.
Really?
Yeah. And pingbacks, mostly pingbacks. Yeah, there's not much there.
I would like a calendar type format would be better, but it doesn't really matter now. It's just really who's coming up is the main thing.
True that.
Actually, I don't even need to put a date on there, really.
No, just who's coming up.
I'll just put it in order of recording. No, you got to have a link so people know what to ask and who to click.
If they really care, they'll already know.
No, that's not
or
true.
They'll Google it.
No, they want to know right then. What's this dude about?
Who's they?
Whoever's
listening.
Jesus.
Okay.
Mr. fucking pessimistic over there.
All right, guys. Tell your friends about this show. The Spirit of Arrested Development. And thanks for listening. See you next week.
I'm wandering in the dark, but I'm not lost. I'm searching for your heart, and I had you in my dreams. can smell you on my sleeve, but I can't breathe, and you're covering a smile, and I'm taking in the scene now, but I can't see, and I'm begging you, please don't run from me. You and me, we will go on down the road. I believe in your soul. You and me, we will show all the world will know. I believe in my home, and everything else can go. And everything else can go. Leaving my home. Leaving my home. Leaving my home. Leaving my leaving my home. You and me, we will go on down the road. I believe in your soul. You and me, we will show all the world will know. I believe in my home. Yeah, I believe in, I believe in, I believe in, I believe in my home. Yeah, I believe in, I believe in, I believe in, I believe in my
Some say they like coast to coast, but on demand, raw and uncut interviews, and all without no ads. One says false and one says true, and the rate you sing grows too. Grimerica is here for you. Stories from the listeners, they sent to Graham. He'll read them and be amazed, but Darren may say no. One says red and one says blue, but if it's balls it just won't do. Grimerica is here